In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a recording device in the Lyft driver app. This is super important to do whether you're using a dash cam or any other type of recording device. First off, you have to go to your account settings and then go to your recording devices. Once you do, this will pop up and you can see your devices. These are the recording devices you've told us about. Once you add a device, we'll let passengers know it's present. And this right here is just super important all around that passengers will be notified about your recording device. We'll send notifications to passengers to let them know when the recording device is present. Here's an example of what they'll see. So it'll be a little notification and it'll say something like, hey, the driver's arriving in 4 minutes. Your driver may be using a dash cam or a similar device. Now, when you go to add a device like a dash cam or a similar device, this is what you'll see before you actually add it. So you can see the Lyft's involvement in recording policy. Does registering a device mean Lyft can access my footage? They cannot. The second thing is the recording device policy. I will talk about this a bit later in this video, but you can see here that it depends on local regulations, right? When it comes to recording people state to state, whether it's like a one-party state or a multi-party state, it can get fairly technical. But here is the big thing I'm gonna say right away, right? Is this. As you can see on the bottom paragraph, broadcasting another person's image or recording without their express prior consent is prohibited and may result in your account being disabled. So we'll talk about this, like I said, in a little bit, but there's a huge difference between being like, hey, I'm recording this ride just in case. That's very different than, like, say, being like, hey, I'm gonna post this on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. Those are two completely different scenarios, which I will talk about in a second. And then finally, when you go to the next page, you'll see this basically in terms of the device brand and model. Does it record sound? Does the device record what's inside or outside or both? And I suggest both, which we'll talk about in a second. And then lastly, of course, if you have multiple vehicles on your account, you click that specific vehicle. Now, there are three really important points I have to make on this video. One, you may be wondering, I have gotten this question a lot, is, well, is a dash cam even necessary? Is it even necessary for me to have a recording device in my car? I say 100% yes. I look at it very, very similar to insurance. Now, when it comes to insurance, hopefully you never have to use it, whether it's auto insurance, health insurance, etc. Hopefully you never have to use it, but you have it there just in case. This is super important. I mean, again, I don't like to create FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I don't like when people do that, but we all heard about these stories that, like, say something happens with you driving. For example, let's say you're driving and you get into an accident, and think about it, the more that you're on the road, the more likely you are to do so. And let's say what happens is someone backs up by accident, goes in reverse, hits the front of your car. And you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. But then in the insurance report, they say, no, they actually hit me. They rear-ended me, right? And then it turns into this like, well, he said this, but she said this situation. Not good. This actually happened to one of my friends, this exact scenario. She didn't have a dash cam, same scenario. A lady backed into her, claimed that she actually drove into her. And when they went to court, the judge was like, hey, I'm sorry, it's your word against hers. I'm just gonna say you guys pay for your own vehicles. In addition, when it comes to having a dash cam, a lot of them record both outside and inside your vehicle. And unfortunately, there have been a lot of reports of, like, say, passengers doing things, whether it's stealing stuff of yours, attacking you while driving, being inappropriate, and even borderlining on sexual assault, and a lot more. And having this footage, having this evidence is absolutely vital. Hopefully you never have to use it, but it's there just in case. The second thing now is the type of dash cam. Super important as well. Now, like I showed you earlier, when, let's say, you're submitting it to Lyft, one of the things they ask is outside, inside, or both. Get a dash cam that records both. A lot of them are two ways. It records the outside of your vehicle. Anytime an accident happens, boom, you got footage. Anytime something happens inside your vehicle, boom, you got footage. In addition, make sure it records sound. I feel like most do anyway, but just in case, look into it, make sure it records sound. I mean, hey, there's even dash cams that are three ways. It records the front of your car, the back of your car, and the inside of your car. That's even better, right? But at the end of the day, make sure you look up dash cams on, like, Amazon or wherever. You might see some for, I don't know, I've seen some as cheap as $50, $100. You don't have to have an incredible 4K, ultra definition. As long as the footage is decent, like, I think most dash cams now record at least at 720p. That's fine. If you can get 1080, I think 1080 is kind of the standard now. If you want to go up to 4K, go for it. But you can see some dash cams anywhere from $50 to like $400 or $500. Decent spread. It is well worth it to get one, right? I do have to stress that. I know some people say, well, Mark, I don't want to spend $75 on a dash cam. Trust me, the $75 that you're going to spend, very, very similar to insurance, could save you an astronomical amount in the future, and especially with saving you money and protecting you as a driver in general. You want to make sure that you're recording both the outside but also the inside of your vehicle. And number 3, which is very important, is it legal to record people? Now, I want to stress I'm not a lawyer and I never pretend to be one in any of my videos. I actually did do a lot of research about this exact topic. I posted a video, I think it was actually like 3 years ago, when this channel was kind of in its infancy, so to speak, about can you record people when it comes to driving for Uber and Lyft. Here's where things get tricky. It gets very complicated state to state, even maybe city to city. Some states, for example, are what's called a one-party state, which in very common speak, in most situations, you can record people. In other situations, though, if it's a multi-party state, typically you cannot. This is where it gets kind of tricky and also goes along the lines of consent, right? Like, if I'm being filmed without my consent, that's a very different experience if I'm being filmed and I know about it, right? This is why I suggest a couple different things. One, make sure you add your dash cam to the Lyft driver app. That way, if something ever goes wrong, God forbid some person says, hey, they were recording me and blah, 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 Lyft can say, and you can say, hey, just letting you know, I let them know. I inputted my recording device. That way, Lyft notified them saying, hey, just letting you know, there is a recording device in the car. The second thing is to only use the footage if you have to, right? Like I said earlier, when it comes to things like social media now in this day and age, it's very, very common for people to be recorded without their consent and then that video put online. This is happening everywhere, not just in the ride-sharing world, but everywhere. I mean, I think right now the big trend, which is a negative one, is in gyms, right? And this is a huge hot topic, definitely a complete Pandora's box, subject for a different video. But there's a lot of people now recording people without their consent at the gym, and of course, people like Joey Swole are calling people out. I think like the term being Joey Swole is now almost like a verb of being like called out for inappropriately and negatively recording people at the gym without their consent. When it comes to dash cams and recording people in a Lyft, like I said, one, make sure you let Lyft know so they then notify the passenger. Two, if you want, I mean, this is up to you too. If you want, you can also put maybe a piece of paper and get it laminated. I know a lot of drivers do this. And what you can do is take that, put it on the back of your seat, and like I said, the other seat. So that way there's a sign saying, hey, just letting you know, this, drive is being recorded. It's not being posted anywhere. It's being used just in case something happens, right? Now, the third thing, and this is a big one, is to not post it on social media. Now, I know 90% of drivers are like, hey, Mark, I just have the dash cam just in case. I would never do so. However, I actually have had a lot of people hit me up saying, hey, Mark, I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to make these we've probably seen these virally TikTok, YouTube, even YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. I want to make these videos of people in my car. Like I had one person hit me up saying, hey, Mark, I actually want to do a series where I record drunk people and post it online. I drive in Vegas, and of course, I have some very interesting rides. Of course, I want to post it online. It gets super tricky because, one, if you post it without their consent, and let's say their job sees it, for example, and they get fired or something happens, it's one thing to have the footage just in case. It's another thing to post it online and actually potentially ruin someone's life with it when they're just out having drinks, try and have fun. That's the first thing. The second thing is, even if they do consent to it, even if, let's say, it's a drunk girl on the back of your car being wild because she's super drunk, and she goes, yeah, you can post it, I don't care. Well, she is drunk and she is inebriated. And as we all know, if you're drunk, you cannot legally consent. So even if she does say yes to it, you're still opening up Pandora's box. Now, might as well say as a side note, if let's say you do want to talk about Uber stories and Lyft stories, we all have crazy stories, let's be honest, when it comes to driving. What I suggest doing is hitting record on your phone or on, like, say, a different camera that you have and talking about what happened after the fact. Let's say you have a girl, and I have, crazy stories, as most of you do as well. Let's say you have a situation with a girl or a guy who is drunk doing something funny or something interesting. You pull up your camera or your phone or whatever, hit record and say, all right, this is Lyft Stories number 37, or Lyft Stories vlog number 37. I get to tell you what happened last night. And you recap what happened in your own words in a monologue format, similar to what I'm doing in this video. Although this video is more educational than entertainment, that's a way to at least talk about the story and everything. And yes, maybe having the actual footage will look better, but it's not worth the risk. Like I've said numerous times throughout this video, when it comes to having a dash cam, report it to Lyft, but also that dash cam is there for insurance. You only use that footage. You only use that evidence if you need it.